Okay, hola, me llamo Raquel Rose, soy la nueva directora de Kentfield School District. Vamos a hablar sobre el programa del otoño para escuela este año que viene. We are here tonight to talk about the program in the fall that is just around the corner. So, ojalá que pueda dar respuestas a sus preguntas. I'm hopeful to answer questions that you might have sobre el programa y vamos a empezar con una slide deck. So we're going to start with a slide deck of information. Okay. Talia, are you ready? I'm actually going to lean on you a little bit. I'll try. It's hard to go back and forth, but it's just my Spanish isn't perfect. Okay, so this is a presentation of our roadmap to returning to school. And so we have a couple slides that are going to give you some information related to what you can plan for.
Este es una presentación sobre el regreso de la escuela que va a ocurrir en agosto.
For the last number of weeks, we started in May planning for the return to school, and we've had committees come together. We've identified a summer program. Also want to talk a little bit about some financial implications for the program, and then answer some frequently asked questions.
Que hemos tenido unos grupos sobre el regreso del colegio, y los grupos comenzaron en mayo con conversaciones sobre cómo va a ser el enseñamiento cuando regresamos al colegio. También va a hablar de el programa de verano y implicaciones y respuestas financieramente del regreso, y también va a tener tiempo para preguntas.
We know from the public health we have clear guidelines for returning to on-site instruction, and it'll be very important that we follow these guidelines.
Que tenemos instrucciones sobre cómo vamos a regresar al colegio, sobre la guía de salud del distrito.
So right here is some clear information about what you can expect. Aquí es información que puede para tener expectaciones. So vamos a hablar cada información. So the first is talking about daily health checks and the need to do things such as temperature check prior to kids coming to school and once they're on campus.
Tenemos algunas guías sobre el regreso del colegio, y una de las guías es chequear la temperatura de los niños antes que lleguen al colegio y también cuando estén en el colegio.
We also will need personal protective equipment for our staff as well as for our students. It will be one of the key areas to know is that our students will be expected to be wearing face coverings. So you might be familiar with coverings that look like this that students will need to be taught to wear at school.
Tenemos equipo que los maestros van a tener que ponerse para regresar al colegio, y para los niños van a necesitar ponerse máscaras todos los días, y sería bueno comenzar a ayudarles para que sepan cómo ponerse las máscaras.
There's also discussion around testing for our essential workers, which would be teachers, and potential COVID-19 testing for students with parent permission. So that is also in discussion right now.
Que estamos conversando sobre hacer pruebas de COVID para los maestros, y también hay discusiones sobre pruebas para los estudiantes también.
Another key aspect is the physical distancing between student to student as well as student to adult. For adults, it's a 6-foot distance that's being recommended, and then for students, it's between 4 to 6 feet distancing.
Que también otra protocolo que tenemos para asegurarnos que todos están seguros es distancia social, que es 6 feet para adultos, dentro de adulto y adulto, y de 4 a 6 feet para los estudiantes.
We'll also have protocols in terms of how students come to school, how they might leave, the breaks, recesses, and lunch periods. That will be very clear that they will need to follow.
También tenemos protocolos que estamos haciendo para cómo los estudiantes van a llegar al colegio, cómo van a comer su almuerzo, cómo van a estar en líneas. Entonces, todo eso estamos discutiendo para asegurarnos que todos estén seguros.
Another key piece of the new guidelines is talking about the importance of a stable cohort. So not specifically identifying a number, but that the cohort must be stable with one adult. Adults can mix between cohorts, but the students cannot mix between cohorts or groups of kids.
También estamos conversando sobre un cohort estable, y un cohort es como el grupo de niños que están en la clase. Entonces, entre estos grupos, los niños, o sea, la clase, solamente entre esta clase, o sea, no pueden estar con otros niños de otras clases, pero los adultos sí pueden ir de cohort a cohort o grupo a grupo. Pero los niños solamente se mantienen en ese grupo que estamos llamando un cohort.
Another area that we need to monitor and look at is our facility structures and the ventilation that's happening within classrooms, as well as any kind of community shared spaces.
También estamos conversando sobre la ventilación de los salones y las clases, para asegurarnos que todo están seguro, instalaciones del colegio.
And last is just the sanitation and cleaning. We'll have to have very clear schedules on the sanitation and cleaning that's happening in our classrooms and office spaces on a regular basis.
También estamos conversando sobre la limpieza y sanitación de los salones y otros cuartos, otras clases del colegio, como la oficina, los baños, cosas así.
And so one of the things, as mentioned before, is our committees. So we have committees coming together regularly and that are providing some guidance related to an advisement on the thinking related to what we can plan for the fall.
Entonces tenemos como committees, grupos de maestros y trabajadores del colegio que estamos conversando sobre el regreso del colegio que viene en otoño.
We have 4 key guiding principles to help us as we plan. The first is around the physical and social emotional well-being of our students and our staff.
Tenemos 4 como principales que nos están ayudando en manejar el regreso del colegio, y uno de los principales es el bienestar de mente de los estudiantes.
Also, we want to be sure that we're providing a rich academic program for our students that really ultimately calling out eliminating the achievement gap between our children.
También el segundo principal es instrucción, y asegurarnos que todavía vamos a mantener un curso de instrucción que nos va a ayudar a eliminar el achievement gap dentro de los estudiantes.
Number 3 is we really want to optimize and use all of our financial and human resources to the greatest extent possible.
También el tercero es que queremos optimizar los recursos financieros y humanos que tenemos.
And the last is being sure that we're thinking boldly and creatively as we plan for the fall.
Y el último es que estamos pensando con mucho pensamiento creativo y boldly para mirar que estamos haciendo todo posible para asegurarnos que estén regresando a un sitio seguro.
So these committees, as I mentioned, we have different committees coming together. So there's a steering committee, a safety committee, an instruction committee, and a wellness committee.
Tenemos 4 comités que estamos usando. El primero es el comité de el steering committee, otro de instrucción, otro de bienestar y también un comité de planificar.
We have 2 new committees that we're anticipating putting together. One is related to a committee that's going to be focusing on a very robust distance learning plan for our students.
Vamos a anticipar tener otros comités que van a formar y uno de estos comités es un comité para asegurar que si tenemos instrucción en distancia, que que va a ser, va a tener las metas para asegurar una instrucción, la mejor instrucción que podemos hacer para los estudiantes.
And the last is really trying to think about questions and information we want to get from our stakeholders for our ongoing planning for operations that would happen in the fall.
Y también estamos haciendo preguntas con la comunidad para ver si hay áreas que podemos manejar mientras estamos con estas discusiones.
As we have the public health guidelines, we have our committees working, and most recently we've gotten information from our local State Department giving us some guidance on expectations that we should have that are related to operations in the fall that could implicate our funding. So we want to be sure that we follow these guidelines that are being outlined.
Queremos optimizar los recursos humanos y financieros mientras mantenemos un presupuesto equilibrado y que hay guías que necesitamos seguir para que nos den la ayuda financiera que necesitamos para asegurarnos de la seguridad de los estudiantes.
3 key things to point out to people is we are going to be receiving some federal support and funds and resources to help offset some of the costs that we are anticipating related to COVID and the impact it's having on education.
Anticipamos que vamos a recibir ayuda financiera del gobierno federal para las implicaciones de COVID.
We've also gotten clear definition from our state government about the distance learning program, when you would implement it, and then what it's required to look like for students.
También nos han dado una definición del aprendizaje de distancia, las condiciones que para implementar el programa de distancia y qué significa y qué necesita incluir.
And we also have clear parameters around our instructional time, the number of days and the instructional minutes.
Y también tenemos guías específicas sobre el tiempo de instrucción de la clase cada día y los días de instrucción sobre el año escolar.
So for instruction, I'm not going to read these, but just for people to have, we are being advised that we need to provide each district should offer instruction in person to the greatest extent possible.
Para una de las guías es que necesitamos hacer instrucción viva, instrucción, o sea, de persona a persona, por lo más, los motivos más que podemos hacer.
It's clear to us that we would have 180 instructional days, and that we would need to be sure that as long as we are really doing everything possible to have in-person instruction, if we needed to offer some components of distance learning, that we would have the flexibility to do that.
Está bien claro que necesitamos tener 180 días del colegio escolar y que por lo más posible tener instrucción viva entre persona y persona, pero también si hay motivo para que una persona necesite aprendizaje de distancia, también estamos buscando formas de poder hacer eso también, si uno elige y necesita eso.
Our instructional minutes have, for the year, there's a requirement that has been waived, but each day there's a minimum number of instructional minutes. So cada día hay un mínima expectación de minutos instrucciones para niños, and it's expected by grade level. So here on the slide, aquí puede mirar for K, 180 minutes per day for 1st through 3rd, 230 minutes per day, and 4th through 12th, 240 minutes per day. So it's important for people to know that there's been a decrease in the requirement of daily instructional minutes.
Que los recuerdos para minutos instruccionales para cada día se han bajado. Y ahora el mínimo minutos de instrucción para cada día es 180 para kindergarten, 230 minutos por día por grados 1 hasta el 3er y 4º hasta el 12 a 240 minutos por día.
This here talks about the conditions when would we have be required to operate distance learning.
Estas son las condiciones para el aprendizaje de distancia.
There are 2 conditions outlined by the state. One is if the state or the local public health required us to have a public order for distance learning or shelter in place where we would have to move that way.
La primera es que si el Estado nos ha notificado que hay una situación que toda la escuela necesite comenzar aprendizaje a distancia para mantener la salud del público.
The second is if a student had a health condition where their doctor prohibited them from returning to in-school instruction, or a cohort of students had exposure and they were required to go into quarantine due to exposure of COVID.
La segunda condición es si un doctor ha avisado a la familia que el niño tiene una condición donde de resultado no puede estar en el colegio para mantener la salud del niño, o si la clase, el salón o el cohort ha estado alguien del cohort quien ha tenido un contacto con otra persona que tiene COVID, o un niño del salón que lo tiene y toda la clase va a tener que salir a aprendizaje de distancia.
This here is a timeline, preliminary timeline for what you can expect moving forward.
Esto es como una cronología de comunicación para seguir adelante.
Today, right?
Perdón?
Today is, can I talk? Because I think I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that. And because I was late in the first meeting and a little late in the second meeting, I'm sorry for this. And because I want to know, the plans is back to school, right?
So we have not yet defined what it's going to look like in the fall. We are required by the state to provide in-person instruction to the greatest extent possible. So we have to be sure that we can fulfill the guidelines that have been outlined by our public health in order to provide the in-person instruction at the school. I have shared that I do believe that would be the best mode for us, but we want to be sure we have all the conditions in place so that our students and our staff are safe and that they can be in the environment that align with the public health guidelines.
Okay, but when you a few minutes ago you were talking about the hours that, but that hours, it's the hours that they have. Like my daughter is gonna be in the 3rd grade, and the problem it's 200 or something.
230.
Right? If it's the class are at home, but if it's gonna be in school, probably these things are gonna be different, right?
No, these are the required minutes, no matter what. Whether it's distance learning, whether it's in school, whether it's a combination of the two.
Okay.
So previously, you would have expected what was normally, not normal, but what might be a daily instructional minutes for 3rd grade would be 280 minutes per day.
Okay.
But the state has decreased the daily required instructional minutes for 3rd grade, particularly, to 230 minutes per day. And so that's about 50 minutes less.
Yes.
So.
But it doesn't matter if it's in home or it's in the school.
No, it does not matter.
Okay. Okay. But they are decreased because of the COVID. Only for this reason?
It's one, we know it's just for the 2020-21 school year.
Okay.
And right now, that's what we know. And the reasoning or the rationale is that because there are various modalities in which that will be operating, whether it's distance learning or hybrid or in-seat, we have different circumstances we're faced with. And so wanting to be sure that, one, kids are getting what they need as best to the greatest extent possible in person, but also giving the staff that's supporting those students ample time so that they can plan and provide the robust instruction that our students need.
Okay.
I hope that helps.
Yes.
Here is the preliminary calendar. Next week, we plan to roll out a framework for what you can expect in the fall, and it will be just a frame of what we're hoping to implement for our operations.
Este es un calendario preliminario con fechas para que cosas que pueden expectar para el regresar del colegio.
On the 17th, we'll have community office hours at 4 o'clock where you'll hear that framework. And then on Tuesday, the 21st, we have a regularly scheduled board meeting.
El 17 de julio, con las horas de oficina de la comunidad, van a discutir, conversar sobre el regreso del colegio, y también el 21 de julio va a tener otra reunión donde van a... could you repeat the 21st, the date? What?
It's a regularly scheduled board meeting where we'll again reiterate the framework.
Un board meeting que tienen cada mes, a veces varias veces del mes, donde también van a comunicar las guías para el regreso del colegio.
On the 23rd, we'll have office hours. We'll have office hours for 4 o'clock office hours, and I'm going to predict a 6 o'clock office hours for our DLAC community.
El 23 también van a ver las horas de oficina, que es como lo que estamos teniendo ahorita. 1 a las 4 en inglés, y pensamos que va a ser a las 6 de la noche en español. Esto va a ser el 23 de julio.
Okay.
The week of the 29th through the 30th, we'll have small group information sessions by grade level spans to help answer questions for students, for parents related to their children.
También el 29 y 30 de julio van a tener sesiones de grupos pequeños en cada grado, o sea, de kindergarten hasta segundo, tercero hasta quinto y sexto hasta el grado 8, para dar información a los padres sobre sus estudiantes, sus niños.
The 10th through the 14th in August, we'll have additional workshops or webinars for our stakeholders, staff, as well as for parents to help with some training related to protocols and what expectations they can have for the new school year.
Okay. El 10 hasta el 14 de agosto vamos a tener seminarios sobre información en los protocolos de sanidad para el regreso del colegio.
Okay, can I make a question? But during the month, I know you have all this schedule with you, and I think you show this in the beginning, right? And but you are sending emails for us that these things gonna happen, right?
Say that again.
All these things that you are talking about, all these dates, you are going to send, we can find at Aris, or you are going to send by mail for us too?
We will send it. There will be a communication tomorrow that's going to have some of this information, like your regular newsletter. We're doing one tomorrow. We'll also post it on our website. And then the reminders will continue to come out on Wednesdays for the office hours that happen the next day. Okay,
this website that you're talking about is the Kentfield district, or
yes.
At Iris? Kentfield
School District. Okay. Yeah.
¿Quieres que traduzca esto o no?
No necesito.
Thank you.
And so the week of the 17th through the 21st in August is the back to school preparation for staff, as well as additional information for parents.
Y también el 25 de agosto va a haber, vamos a preparar para el primer día de clases.
Then the August 25th is our anticipated first day of school.
Okay. Oh, oops, disculpa, el 17 hasta el 21 va a ser como la preparación para el regreso del colegio, como back to school night, y donde vamos a dar información para los padres, y el 25 es el primer día del colegio.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and so these are some frequently asked questions, some frequently asked questions that people have brought up. So I need to, oh gosh, stop sharing for a minute. So just give me 1 second. Here, I apologize. Can you see that again?
No, we can't see your.
You see me?
Yes, only you.
Instead of going through these questions, let's see if you have additional questions for us. Maria, I think?
No, I'm Flavia. Maria is my daughter, but she changed the name because of her meetings at school. And I saw now that you said Maria. Maria is my daughter.
Do you have any more questions for us?
No, I'm fine for now. And because sometimes I'm from Brazil, and sometimes when you talk, it's very fast for me to learn to understand all the words, and I try to listen this one because it's easy to listen in Spanish. And so I think I don't know if I understand in the correct way all the things. So I said, I will listen the other meeting too, because I have a question, and the other group there were more parents, right? And questions too. So I came to here to make sure that I understood it right.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you came. We're having some technical difficulties, so I'm not able to go back and pull it up. So I'm trying to find a way to pull up those questions again. But I think one of the key pieces from those questions was around the parents having an option around distance learning. So if parents didn't meet the conditions, would we be willing to allow parents to have their children opt for distance learning? Was a frequently asked question, and the answer is yes, we would.
Que una de las preguntas que han de frecuencia es si los padres van a tener la opción de tener aprendizaje de distancia, aunque no tienen una de las dos condiciones que hemos hablado anterior. Y la respuesta es que sí, que padres van a tener esa opción.
And another frequently asked question is how many students would be in a cohort or in a classroom? And what we're doing is we're not landing on a number per se, but more or less speaking to what aligns with public health guidelines related to the physical distancing that would be allowable in the classroom for the number of students. So how many students can we fit with the 4 to 6 feet distancing? And when we looked at BASIG, we landed on we probably could have a full class, but it would not be a very conducive environment for teaching and learning. And so we are looking at a number between 16 to 18 kids that could fit and have the 5 feet physical distancing in the classroom spaces.
Que otra de las preguntas de frecuencia es cuántos estudiantes van a estar en cada cohort o cada clase, y y nosotros estamos usando la guía del centro de salud que dice que para mantener la distancia social, que es dentro de 4 pies o 6 pies. Entonces hemos ido a salones a Basic y aunque sí podríamos poner una clase full ahí adentro, dentro de 20, 24 estudiantes, esto no va a poder mantener las guías del centro de salud. Y entonces estamos pensando en un número dentro de 16 a 18 estudiantes.
I think those were the key questions really that we're getting in. Unless you have any other questions, Flavia, or anybody else has any, I think we're good.
Yes, for me it's good. I'm good.
Great. We're going to have another session where I'll try to talk slower in the other big session. I do talk fast. Maybe that's a strategy. But
I was trying to send a message. Please speak a little slowly.
I don't do it just in office hours. Talia can it is in all of the different office hours.
Yes, you are a fast talker.
So anyways, okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will post this. This isn't the perfect recording, but we did the best we could, and I think the effort's there, and so hopefully we'll get more families to join at 6 o'clock on the 23rd.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Flavia.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you
Bye,
all.
everyone.
Have a good
Take
night.
care. Bye.